Welcome to Blues on the Hill.
Thanks, Baz. Thanks for having me.
How's the world tour going?
It's going good. We started promoting this new album, Above the Influence, in June. The first show was in Moscow, Russia, on June 20th, I think. And that was a kickoff for the tour for Above the Influence. And then we went to Norway. We supported Johnny Winter in Scandinavia for a while. Wow. And then we played in Germany, I think, a few shows. And then we now in Australia, about 10 shows into the tour. We got 10 more to go, so yeah, it's going well.
Great stuff. Now, the blues scene in Melbourne at the moment is really thriving. Okay, it's really, really good. What's the blues scene like in those countries you're talking about? So, travelling the world, how is the blues in general? How's the blues scene?
I think blues is an interesting thing because I believe that people relate to blues as well as they relate to emotion and passion, because I think blues, in order to be effective, has to be passionate, and I think people can relate to that. So it's even bigger than blues. It's about passion, and it's about spontaneity and all those things that makes us human. So I think that's one of the reasons people are really dig that sort of music right now. But it's really good. I mean, in any all the places we visited, it's just like people. It's a pretty healthy scene, I would say. All the places we visited, it's been pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, you came across the blues at the early age of 10 when you first heard Elmore James. How has hearing that shaped your life?
I think when I first heard records, my mom was playing records of Elmore James, I was feeling this overwhelming feeling of just like excitement and happiness and just this high kind of feeling, butterfly in your stomach kind of thing. And I didn't even know it was blues at the time. I heard that music and I was like, wow, emotionally I was responding to the sound. And that's, I think, it's been the driving force, for me. I've been trying to recreate that feeling, the butterfly in the stomach kind of feel, that real passionate feeling ever since. And that's what I've been, it's been affecting me. Yeah, because I think to me, Elmore James is, just the emotional message that I get is intense, and I don't think I can get this with anybody else.
Absolutely. Your first major break as a musician was supporting Robin Ford, who's coming out for Blues Fest next year. And the word quickly spread then that Wolf Mail was someone to pay attention to. Tell us about that time in your life when you made your break.
Well, this was interesting because I at the time, the tour was, I think, several years back, but Robin Ford was doing an acoustic. He was doing the acoustic setup, and that was interesting because we were exposed to bigger crowd, and people that had interest into blues music. So that was very interesting, and pretty much what I did at the time. I was touring California and the States quite a lot, and I had an opportunity to go to Europe and I started doing a festival in Marseille, in France, and supporting Robin, and it's a great experience.
Now, you were offered an endorsement by Gibson early in your career. Now, for many musicians, that would be the ultimate accolade, but you turned it down. Instead, an Australian luthier found you. Tell us about that meeting, how that came about.
It's true. I was in Tokyo several years back and touring, and a friend of mine, a guitarist, said, you know what, let's go visit the Gibson headquarters, and which we did. And at that particular time, I had a mention on the cover of Guitar Player in Japan. And I walked in there and I've noticed on the table there was that particular magazine and it was open at my page, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I started talking, to the person there, and the girl said, oh, you're Wolf Mails, obviously, because of the article, And then she said, we've got a big, if you're going back to LA, we've got a big factory in Beverly Hills, you should come down and visit it. So she gave me a card of the lady, and I made an appointment. I went to Beverly Hills, and I came to this big factory warehouse, and there was just one security guard and one receptionist, and then hundreds of guitars and a drum room, I think, because they bought Slingerland or something. I was just like, and I spent 3 hours there, and I called her back, and I said, and she said, well, what do you think, and I said, well, yeah, it's great. And at the time, I think they wanted an exclusivity, and that implied a few restriction, and I didn't go for it.
What about the Australian connection? How did that come about?
Then after that, I was doing a show in Australia in Hobart, and at the end of one show, this man came up to me and said, I'm a luthier. I built guitar with passion, and I use old Tasmanian woods, and I love your music, and I'd be interested in building a guitar for you if you'd like. And it was like, oh sure, why not? What am I going to say? So anyway, I went to visit his factory in Hobart and looked at the woods that he had, and we had a chat, and he started drawing, a bit of a mock-up of the guitar, and he said, man, if you got any idea, any suggestions, just tell me. And so I told him about all the things that I wanted. And he started. Then his name was Mark Gilbert, from Mark Gilbert Guitars, and he built this wonderful guitar that I'm still using now. It's about 3 years ago.
And have we got it here?
Absolutely, we do. Yes, it's actually. I'll put it out for you.
We'll just have a look at it, even though we're on radio, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, this one, I want to pull this one. This is a very special axe right here. This is made of Yuan pine, and this wood has been certified being over 2,000 years old. This is why I call it BC. And yeah, it's
a beautiful
piece.
instrument. Thank you. That is magnificent.
Yeah, I really like it. It's got you get this warm, deep, just vibrating sound. It's just Mark Gilbert. Yeah.
And with your guitars, you're just so simple, just with the one pickup, you know, and just as basic and as simple as it gets. And that's part of your sound, isn't it? I mean, that's the blues.
Yes. I mean, to me, I try to, when I play music, to be as honest and genuine and spontaneous as possible. And I think I'm trying to express emotions. And I think the less, if you will, things I have in between, like pedals or effects or something, the better I am, because I can express myself better, I think, So that's why I try. I'm very simple. I bear down, like one pickup. I barely use any effects,
great.
Make it more effective. But.
All right, let's turn our attention to the CD, which is why you're here. Above the Influence, the 7th release or 6th? 6th or 7th?
It's 6th.
6th release,
so
okay.
Yeah.
When I listen to this, I hear a raw, stripped back, very primitive, very live sound. How do you describe the album?
I think that's a good start. Yes, it's pretty much spot on. The album is the idea was to tour live and then go straight into the studio, which was what we did. I think the main thing is the previous album I did, studio album, Electric Love Soul, was kind of overproduced. I felt it was. I mean, still good songs in it, but I felt it was a bit too clean for my taste.
Yeah.
So the next one, we said, you know what, we're going to go on tour. We took 20 songs or so, and we toured Scandinavia last year as well. And then after that, we booked time in the studio in Amsterdam, and we went straight in and recorded the songs we've been playing for the last 3 weeks or so. And that's trying to capture that live sound.
Yeah, and I think you have. You've done it fantastically.
Thank you.
Now, there's 10 tracks on the CD, 8 written by yourself. Which one's your favourite and why?
I think, because again, this is an emotional thing, it depends on the day, I guess.
Okay.
But right now, I could tell you my favorite track is, I would say, the track Undone, which is a slow blues, because it's simple, it's got a lot of space in between where the emotion can come out, and guitar playing is simple and straight to the point. So probably I would say that one, yes.
All right. Is there a story behind the name of the album?
Yes, there is. It's pretty much, I try to be creative, and I try to come up with new material that is, slightly different from what I've done before, and that is a bit innovative as well. So I think the blues world has a lot of blues police people that if you get out of that 1-4-5 straight thing, like, what are you doing, So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go against the trend. So let's try to maybe record something that has that blues feeling and passion. And who cares if it's slightly different from what's been done before. So that's the influence of the songwriting, the standard of what a blues music should be.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think I agree with you. I just think blues stretches to so many boundaries. I mean, blues, rock, soul. I think, you know, as long as you, like you say, it's got the blues passion, then, you know, it shouldn't be boxed, and there shouldn't be these purists saying, you know, that's not blues.
That's right.
You know, I mean, Blues Fest is a perfect example as a festival. You know, it showcases blues, but it stretches all the boundaries, and it's a wonderful festival. And by pulling away and getting into other areas like rock, soul, and so on, you can then pull the people back into the blues once you get them.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's a wonderful thing about this genre. Now, when I listen to the CD again, I hear a lot of passion and soul. You've talked about passion in your voice and soul. While you're known as a blues guitarist, do you put as much focus on your vocals as your guitar? Is that as important to you when you're recording?
You know, it wasn't for a long time, but in the last 2 years, I was like, you know what, I need to put passion in my voice. I wanted to, because the last 25 years or so, I've been sitting down practicing guitars and stuff, but not really my voice. It was more of a natural thing. So in the last 2 years, I've sat down. I was like, you know what, I'm going to spend more time on my vocals. And on this album, I've worked, try to spend more time, and I realized that it's very important. You know, it's just like if you take B.B. King, I mean, his vocals is as important as the guitar playing. And it's
Buddy Guy too.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Buddy Guy's latest album. Yeah. Not known as a vocalist, but as he's getting older, his vocals are getting more passionate, and
incredible.
you know. So that's why I say it.
very important, crucial.
Now, as well as being a blues guitarist, and we're talking about you being a blues man, you've been dabbling in something else. You've been doing a bit of writing. Can you tell us about the book, or?
A little bit, yeah. Well, I've started a few years back. I was, having some challenges with my hands, like carpal tunnel syndrome and tennis elbow, for years of playing non-stop. So I took a bit of a break, and I've also wanted to, do a bit of research in the music business, because I felt, I could learn a little bit about it. It will serve me right, so to speak. So, I've started studying a little bit about it, and I talked to a lot of people, I started, gathering a lot of information, and I started understanding a few things, and I met up with people in universities and schools, and then I was like, you know what, let's try to write a bunch of things of everything that I've learned, and maybe try to turn this into, a simple, effective, amount of information that could help a musician, to bypass some of the hard times I've been through. That was the objective.
And how is it? Nearly finished? Is it finished? Is it?
Well, I've got most of it together, and about like 3-4 years ago, I gave it to an editor, and he said, you should add a few things here and there. And at that time, I was starting to tour again quite intensively, and I put it aside. And I mean, I've been focusing on, doing all the shows and releasing new material every year, and that's been taking most of my time. So far, it's sitting in the back burner, but, it's still in my objective. Yeah.
Okay. Now, while you're a Canadian by birth, you have recently moved to Australia. Last six years you've been. When did you come and?
Well, I've because of touring so much over the years, particularly in the last up until the last 3-4 years, I was doing 150 shows to 180 per year. And yes, in my time off, I've decided to spend time in Sydney, because it's a really, compared to places, particularly like North America or Europe, I think it's quieter, it's more peaceful. I think Australia's a great democracy, honestly, So yeah, that's one of the reasons.
And you're based here, and you just use it as and then tour from around the world.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. When I've got time off, which there's not a lot of left time off for me, in this year time. But yeah, that's usually when Sydney. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for your time.
Oh, thank you, man.
Obviously, we've got a show to see tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. I wish you all the success with the album, and all the success for the rest of your career.
Thanks.
It's been an honour talking to you, and good luck for the future.
Great. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Just the way you knock on my door. at night. Work all day and I can't pull up a fight. All I want is some loving and kissing. All I get, baby, fussing and fighting.